Chelsea has now apologised to one of its former players, the striker Gary Johnson, over his treatment when he was on the youth team. There have now been allegations of abuse concerning 55 football clubs. Rachel Thain is in talks this morning. She's a lawyer representing some of the victims. Rachel, good morning to you. 55 clubs, it's an awful lot. I mean, clearly, if these allegations are proven, it would appear that this was certainly endemic during a period of football history.
Yeah, certainly, and I'm sadly not at all surprised by the number of people that have come forward, and I still think there's probably a lot more to come.
What gives you that indication?
I think that it's going to take quite a lot of time for people to feel as though that they can come forward. It has only been a couple of weeks since Andy Woodward first spoke out, and I think it is going to continue to kind of trickle through for the next kind of couple of months at least.
What about the situation with clubs? These allegations that Chelsea paid someone off to stay quiet, paid them £50,000 to stay quiet a few years ago. I mean, we need clubs to be holding their hands up when they've done things of that nature, don't we?
Yeah, I think so, and I would strongly suspect that Chelsea are probably not the only club to have done this. It's fairly common where organisations have a reputation they want to protect, for them to get somebody to enter into such a confidentiality agreement whereby they're willing to pay out some money. They won't admit any fault, but they also don't allow that person to talk about what's happened, and that's something that we do see quite commonly.
I mean, presumably it's a very positive move that Chelsea, have issued this apology. I mean, the fact that the people do seem to be the clubs themselves do seem to be a lot more willing now to say, yes, this has happened. Yes, we have made some mistakes, and yes, we need to stop it from happening again.
Yeah, definitely, it is a positive step, and I do hope that if there are any other clubs out there who have got similar arrangements in place in terms of damages and confidentiality agreements, that they will also lift those clauses to allow these people to come out and speak forward. I do also feel quite strongly that it's important not to just look at this as a past problem. I've said from the outset of all this coming about that I do think that we need to remember this is probably likely to be a current problem as well, and I think that NSPCC have said in the last couple of days that they are getting calls from situations where it is ongoing at the moment.
What do you make of the FA investigation? There was a Sky poll that we had yesterday where a good proportion of people thought, 57% of people thought the FA could not really hold a decent investigation on this. They wouldn't trust them to do that.
I would agree. I think it needs to be entirely independent. I think they're, at the moment, I imagine they're in a state of damage limitation, and that I think to get something that's going to be completely honest and open and to really give the truth regarding what's happened, that it does need to be completely independent so it is as transparent as possible.
Okay, Rachel, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Well, still to come on Sunrise. Chelsea Football Club has apologised to the former striker Gary Johnson over his treatment as a youth team player. The club had originally used a confidentiality clause to ensure that Mr Johnson didn't go public with allegations of sexual abuse, but they reversed the decision last week. A lawyer representing some of the victims told Sky News that Chelsea may not have been the only club to have used the legal device.
I've seen quite a few of these agreements, and I think that it's very likely that Chelsea are not the only club that have done this. I think that whether or not anyone else is going to follow suit and lift that confidentiality agreement, I don't know, but I would strongly suspect that there are other clubs who have done exactly the same thing and are probably at the moment panicking, trying to make a decision as to whether or not they're going to lift that.